Alright, today we're going to look at the Battle Pass partners, and we're not going to go too in-depth with these. I'm just going to show off exactly where I would kind of rank these as far as priority goes. So immediately off rip, we're just going to pull off the band-aid and say Priscilla is probably on the lowest of the tiers. She's a decent option for your strikers, but pretty much everything else is better, and I'm going to go ahead and throw in the Vanguard one as well. Now it does have a completely cracked ego skill. You get to retain half of your shield at the end of a turn, but at the same time, most content isn't really going to require this because everything seems to kind of push you into a DPS race, except for when you're going to start punching above your weight in certain bosses like the weekly bosses. That would be about the only scenario for Iceland. Otherwise, yeah, these first two, I would say definitely hold off on these. These are some major skips. Now Solia, this is going to be for Rangers, so it is going to apply best with Rangers that have extra attack and Rangers that draw. Primarily, this is going to benefit Veronica if you have her. So if you're utilizing Veronica, she's a great pick, as well as Selena is a pretty solid pick as well. Overall, great if you have Veronica and you want to give Veronica a great partner. And then taking a look at the next one, Sarathea. This is going to be for your hunters. So this is going to be like your gunners that generate bullets. We're talking Lucas, we're talking Luke. Luke, this is absolutely busted, bonkers, cracked for, because it boosts the critical chance of his own attack cards by 8%, and when you land a critical hit, you can get a buff that boosts your crit damage by 3%, which stacks up to 5 times. So you can think of Luke's bullets as these builders, right? You're going to build up this crit damage, you're going to build up the multipliers on all of his big spending cards, and then at the end of it, you're going to get a nice little crit damage boost, and then it'll pair well as well with the ego skill, applying to vulnerables, so that way when you use the spender skill, you're getting as much damage as possible out of that. So if you have Luke, this is a no-brainer. Otherwise, it's still fine, but definitely something to propel Luke a little further. And then the Psionic one, Antea, I think it's okay. When you generate a card, you get plus 8% attack card damage. I think this is mostly going to be beneficial for Tressa, not necessarily for Kayron. Kayron is very much about generating cards, burning all of those cards, and then getting a big payoff ability. Whereas when Tressa would do this, one, she's going to be pretty consistent with this, especially if you're running the heal, power, generate a Shadow Dagger. So you're going to get the buff consistently, but also she's going to make more use of it because she's going to be playing a bunch of different daggers, a bunch of different cards. So I think if you want a really great partner for Tressa, then this one is very solid. And then a pretty solid AoE as well. I really like Douglas. He's another cheap ego skill with AoE capability, and this one also has vulnerability, which is pretty great. And then last up is Nyx, probably the one that most people are going to tell you to go for. This is going to be controller, and everybody is going to be running Amika in at least one team. So yeah, boosting HP and healing are both whatever, but when you draw, it will amplify your entire team's damage by 8%. So very good for a controller that is going to draw more consistently. I think this is more going to fall in line with Ray because she already has some draw power built into her kit. Whereas with every other controller, I mean, including Ray, you're going to want something like Gear Bag, Rally, etc. Things that will draw you cards, but this will be a little more inconsistent until we get a future controller that is going to more consistently give us that draw to give us the damage amp. But that isn't to say that the ego skill is not busted, because it absolutely is. Discard up to 3 cards, then draw plus 1 card equal to the number discarded. Now, without being able to test it myself, I don't know if you can discard 0 and then get a draw off of it. That'd be pretty cool. But being able to discard 3, draw back 4, also really great. Help you cycle through and get more consistent hands for whatever things you need, like especially for Basin when you're looking at those really strict turn timers and you need to kind of clean out and filter out some bad cards and draw into the beasts that you need to actually clear in the right amount of turns. This also pairs really well if you are running somebody like Renoa. So if you are running Renoa with Mika, then I would say that this is also going to be a really solid pick. Of course, it's also going to be a really solid pick when it comes into the future, just because this ego skill is so universally good. And being able to get that universal generic 8% damage amp for whatever team you end up running will also be very good. Even if you're running only 1 DPS, you can always slot in some other team that utilizes a sub DPS, in which case then this is going to be a lot more beneficial than somebody else who is just generically like boosting their own damage by some odd percent, which would be more ideal when it comes to them being your primary DPS. So realistically, all 4 of these, depending on what characters you own, are going to be very valuable. So it's really going to depend on whoever you have, whatever teams you're running, and whatever you're going to end up valuing the most. So Solia if you really want to push forward on Veronica's presence. Sarathea if you have Luke and you want to push Luke as far as he can go, then I think Sarathea is going to be an incredible option. Antea if you really love Tressa and you want to continue to propel her forward. And then Nyx if you really want to just encompass a really strong supporting partner into any team. So I'm sure everybody else has said it as well, but I'll say it too. Nyx is probably going to be the #1 pick. And then right next to that for me, number 2, I'm going to say is Solia. Everybody has access to Selena, so you're still going to get some pretty good benefit off of that. And then I would go with Sarathea. And then honestly, between Antea, Aishlin, and Priscilla, I'm going to say it's going to depend on whichever character you want to have a 5-star partner the most and who's going to benefit you the most. If you're using Tressa in a lot of teams, or she is like one of your mainstays, then I would say 100% you want to go with Antea. If you really love defensive playstyles, you know, you love Kalipe, Magna, Maribel, whoever else, then Aishlin will be your pick. And then I'm still going to say Priscilla should be your last pick, and you should pick anything else before you pick Priscilla, but you can go ahead and go for her if you really, really want to. And hopefully it goes without saying, if you have pulled any 5-star partners, usually those are going to be somewhat tailored to a specific character. So, you know, you keep those in mind before you end up picking your Battle Pass partner. But if you are like me, who currently haven't pulled any 5-star partners, you probably aren't going to be pulling them anytime soon, then you can go ahead and pick freely with whatever you want. But in the future, when you get some 5-star partners, that's when you're going to want to kind of piece out that you want somebody else. Like I already have somebody on Mika, maybe I won't pick Nyx. But again, I think that Nyx is going to be pretty useful for a future controller that is going to have more consistent draw power. But then maybe somebody like Solia, I have Veronica, I already have her 5-star partner available, so then Solia has a lot less value for me, unless of course I'm running her with somebody like Serena, in which case then Selena, in which case then I'm going to be running, or I might want Solia anyway, because I might be running that team together, you know? So just decide what is best for your account and what is best for your own playstyle. Yeah, quick and easy guide, I just wanted to get that out there and not waste anybody's time. So yep, thanks for watching, take care, and see you in the next one.